What do you think of the cases of rape in South Africa since you are a female?
That's a hard topic. That's a hard topic. I don't know. What do I think of it? I don't know what I think.
What a segue.
If I'm being honest, I don't know what I think because I don't know what I think. But personally, I have experienced rape. Yeah, that's actually how I lost my virginity. Yeah, so that's why I'd say I'm not sure how to think about it because even myself, I'm still processing what happened to me. So to me, it happened when I was, how old was I? I was in grade 9. So I was in Durban. So I was how many years old?
You were 14 because you said you were doing grade 8 when you were
14. I was 14. Yeah, I was 14. So I was raped when I was 14. Obviously, I was a virgin, still in high school.
Wait, woman's don't do that.
I wouldn't really say I knew him. How do I put this? Okay, it's a guy that was asking me out, right? So there was a guy in the area that I lived in. He was asking me out, and I kept saying no, and but he was very popular. He was very popular in the community that we lived in. So, and he was also very persistent with asking me out. So this one day, I'm coming back from school with my backpack and my friends. We're walking, and he comes with his friends. As normal, he tries speaking to me. I was ignoring him, but because I was walking with my friends, he was with his friends. We ended up all having like a joint conversation, you know. And for some odd reason, that day I was really cool, and I spoke to him and I answered him. So as we were walking, right as I was about to reach my destination, which was home, his friends left, right? Because Mna and I started getting along.
Okay.
Yeah, our conversation was
popping.
Yeah, it was popping. So his friends were like, oh, we see you, good, bye-bye, we're leaving you,
Yeah.
you'll find us in the house, right? And then my friend also was like, oh, okay friend, I'll see you tomorrow, let me leave. Yeah, well, so we stayed behind in the park, like it's a public park. So we stood there.
Around what
Obviously
time?
I was 14. Let's say mini.
Oh, okay.
Daylight. We were writing exams, I remember, because Royal Bala that day, I remember. I think it was around 01ish. What's I mean? Yeah, well. So we stood at the park, we had a conversation, flowing, nice. And then as we walking, he was like, oh, actually, because he's been asking me out for a long time. He was like, oh, you know, I've loved you for such a long time, but we're now, Ogogo Manfuni, and. And then he was like, oh, you know, I have an older sister, because I stayed in a boarding house,
Okay.
right? And he stayed in a boarding house. So obviously I didn't have family, he didn't have family there. But all of a sudden he told me, oh, you know, I have an older sister who stays in this area, and I've been telling her about you. I'm sure she'd be happy to meet you. I was like, no. And he was like, okay, it's fine. I'm not going to introduce you. There's something I also need to fetch from her house. And her house was right across the road from where we were. Yeah, well, so I was a kid. I was 14 till I was 14. Yeah, well, I didn't think much of it. Mind you, at that time, I wasn't dating. I've never dated, and so I didn't know that that's how guys speak when they're trying to do funny stuff.
Hey.
So I was like, okay, let's go. And it was right across the road, so we literally just had to cross the road, and the house is there. Right? It's not actually a house; it's like a complex. So there's like blocks level. So we went there. So when we entered, oh yeah, I saw a lady. And she did look like older than him. I was like, oh, okay, this is the older sister. So I came in, she was excited, smiling. She's like, hi. Like, she didn't call me by my name. She's like, hi, Njani. Upiwe. Oh, his name was Upiwe. So she was like, Upiwe is, Upiwe said a lot about you. So I was like, oh yeah, and fine.
So there was a lady who's involved in the whole.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if they planned. I don't know. I still don't understand.
Wow.
So what happened is when I got in, she greeted me. It was all fine and games. And then after that, she was like, oh, I have somewhere to go urgently. I'll be back.
The lady.
The lady, she left. So now it's a house. It's a 2-bedroom house. Could lounge in the kitchen. We were sitting in a lounge at that time, and then she left. So when she left, the guy obviously sitting next to me. She was gone, and we carried on talking. So I'm thinking, also we are walking. So his time is going like 10 minutes, and I'm uncomfortable. She's not coming back. I'm like, oh, see, I'm not me. And then the guy's like, no, we can't leave because she has the keys. We have to wait for her. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then you see she's on the TV, cool, fine. We talk. And then the next thing, obviously, he starts kissing me, and I tell him, okay, I'm not comfortable because we're not dating, and this is something I've never done, and I'm not. And he was a bit older. He was still in high school, but he was way older. I told him, okay, I'm not comfortable, but he persisted, right? And because he was, I don't know how to put this, as he was kissing me, obviously I was feeling comfortable. I tried stopping him, and he wasn't stopping. At some point I gave in. I was like, okay, it's just a kiss, right? So we carried on kissing, and then the next thing he started taking off my clothes. So that's when I got really scared. I was like, okay, you need to stop. I'm a virgin. I can't do this. We're not dating. Like, I highlighted all those things. I'm keeping myself. So this is not, we can't. And he was like, no, don't worry. I'm not going to do anything to you. I'm just undressing you. I was like, do not undress me. Like, don't undress me. Because, I don't want funny things to happen. And he was like, no, don't worry. And then the next thing, as he's talking, at first, sorry to cut you off, at first he was acting very nice and calm. And then when I kept, because it was a couch and we were laying while we're kissing. So when I got up, as I'm trying to stop him, when I got up, he then got really angry. Like, he changed, like in a minute, right, it's a different person. Not angry, a couple of minutes ago. Yeah. So he changed, and he was like, yay, Tula, if you get dramatic, I'll show you. I was like, okay. That's when it clicked in my head that, okay, this guy is probably gonna rape me. I started begging, and just like every other rape story, I started begging. He wasn't listening to me. Obviously he was way taller, and he was masculine, he was huge. I was this little tiny girl, and then he just put me against the couch, and then he undressed me. Obviously I was screaming, trying to get help, but I say Laliti, and the volume was quite high. Yeah. The whole time I was screaming, hoping, because like I said, I just want to be complex. Yeah. So I was hoping that maybe somebody from next door is actually gonna hear and come through. Yeah. But no one came through. So he did that, but I think he was quite uncomfortable in the couch because it was a small couch. And he picked me up, went to the bedroom. I was screaming the whole time. But it was bad. He was even in bedtime. He was slapping me, shut up, stop making noise, and. So that's how it happened. So after it happened, he then, like any other rape story, men are weird. Not all men, like rapists are weird. So he started acting very friendly. Oh, I'm sorry. And started kissing me and. But obviously I didn't want to have it. I was literally shaking. I was shaking, crying. I was like, at least now that you're done with what you wanted to do with me, can you at least let me go home? And he was like, no, you can't. And I couldn't walk that time. I couldn't walk. He was like, how are you gonna walk home? I was like, I'll find a way, because if I stay here, also I was like, I promise you, I'm not gonna report you. I'm not gonna tell anyone. Just let me go. And I had my phone, but eventually he was like, fine, go. But if I hear that you told anyone, you'll be in trouble. I was like, okay, don't worry, I'm not going to tell anyone. So I dressed up. I was still in my school uniform. I took my bag, I walked, and Ekaya, where I stayed wasn't so far off from the place. It was literally like less than 5 minutes walk. So I dressed up, and I walked really slowly because I was in pain, there was blood. Yeah, and it was like a suburb, so there was hardly anyone on the road, and I knew no one would really see me. And even if somebody, I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. But I was like, okay, if I see anyone, I'm probably just gonna stand so that at least the blood doesn't show. You see. So I walked. I got home, and there wasn't anyone at home. So not at home. I was in the boarding house. So I got there. Obviously, I took a bath and did everything, and then told myself, and then started, because I didn't have a phone, and then had Google, started researching, okay, what can I do? I was like, okay, I need to go to the doctor. This is me planning in my head. And I'm already telling myself, because he threatened me, I'm like, I'm not telling anyone. I'm not telling my friends, I'm not telling my family, I'm not reporting him, I'm gonna do this on my own. So I soldiered up, took a bath, and then I slept. Obviously I was crying the whole day and the whole night. And the following day, that day, I had to wake up and go to school, like nothing happened. But obviously after school, normally I walk with my friends, but that day I couldn't walk with my friends because I told them I need to go to the doctor, and I created a story. So I went to the doctor, I got some help, and we did Billy's lucky morning after so that I don't get pregnant. And
So when you get to the doctors, did you lay the whole story for them?
I didn't lay the whole story. I lied. Obviously.
Yeah.
I was 14.
Yeah.
I was 14. And I didn't know, in as much as I knew about I got raped, but it was just embarrassing to even say the word rape. So I created the story. I was like, I had sex with a person I wasn't supposed to have sex with. And I'm not sure what's going to happen. Can I at least get help to make sure that I don't get pregnant, I don't get sick? Well, that's how I put it. So I literally lied. But I got the help, went back home, and I carried on with life. And I didn't tell anyone. Because for some reason, I think the reason why I didn't tell anyone about my story for years, my entire high school life, because it happened in grade 9. So my entire high school life, I was blaming myself. And the reason why I was blaming myself, to after school, it's Suruba, you go to school, you walk, you don't entertain boys, you're in entry. When you decide to stop and you entertain the guy, you spoke to him. You fault. So for the longest time I blamed myself. And I was like, okay, if I go to the police and I report, it's going to be as if he might say it's your job. And then I don't know Zonios, and I was like, I can't even tell my parents, because you know how black parents are.
Yeah.
They're very strict. I was like, they're probably gonna ask me back. So
up to date,
I blamed myself for years.
So after Apple and Fanu appeared on Ngola and then
He did. So after that, I'm very strong. One thing about me, I'm very strong. So what happened? So what happened after that? I obviously soldiered up, and then I would, because it's still in the same neighborhood, so I would see him. I would see him very often, and obviously see his friends, and it was hard. Yeah, it was so hard. But obviously, I started doing research on him to find out, because he was in high school. I was like, he is so young. Why is he raping people? And then I started doing research about him, but indirectly. I didn't tell people that he raped me, but everybody knew that he was asking me out. So I started asking questions, what type of a guy is he? And as if I'm considering dating him. And then I found out that actually, this is what he does. Like, it's a norm. He does this to Amanda Mazanava who are in high school. He'll approach you as if he wants to date you, and then he'll rape you, and then move on to the next girl. And it was a thing, and he'd brag about it. So I found he would brag about it to people.
Yo.
And that I slept. He wouldn't obviously say I raped a person, say I slept with this girl. So obviously I started finding out stories. Oh, this is where he is. He's done things to this person and that person. I was like, oh, he's done it to a number of girls. Nobody has done anything. And then there was one girl I knew, so I thought of approaching her, but I got scared, so I just let it go. So I spent my entire high school varsity without really telling anyone. I think I told the first person, I told my first boyfriend, Yeah, that's the first person I told. And then after that, I told my best friend. And yeah, I started telling a few more other people after that. But yeah.
So up to date your rents doesn't.
My parents don't know, but
Okay.
I know it's obviously they might find out however it happens. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I really don't mind them finding out at this point because I think I'm old enough to now answer, and I've healed from it, so I don't mind. But I wasn't comfortable telling my parents because I understood what it would probably do to my mom. Yeah, well, it would break her. So I didn't talk about it to my parents. Yeah.
So now that I know you personally, so
no, but it's a topic I don't mind talking about because I've healed from it. Not that I went through like therapy or anything. It was just like a I healed myself. I think God helped, and now I'm the type of mind that I have. I'm good with it. It's just that obviously it's a person that's still out there. I see him
and how do you
on
feel?
social media, and so.
How do you feel? Okay.
At first, I used to like just the name, the mention of his name. I get so angry, but I got over that. Just like whatever. Because it's not like I'm planning on reporting him because it's an old story. I don't want to bring it up. I just sometimes like, what if he's still doing it to other people? But it's definitely not something, and I just don't have the strength to now go report him and so I just let it slide. But he's still very much alive. I used to see him on social media until I decided to block him because he would inbox me actually.
Inbox you?
I still have the receipts. Yeah. He would still reach out, no, I'm sorry, all those funny things.
Also, he's
aware. Yeah, he knows. And then at first I used to ignore him.
So now that you have proof, because he's texting you saying sorry for everything that he did, why?
Hey, I don't have the strength for a case, you. I don't have the strength.
It's drama.
Yeah, like it's just yeah, I just don't have the strength to do that.
Now that you are a parent and your baby is a baby girl, okay, it's your baby girl. How are you going to help?
I can't.
Saying if same thing should happen.
You can't really help it because in South Africa, rape is. You can't really say also you prevent that by maybe the way you dress or the places you go to. You could literally be at home, gown, nickels, somebody walks in.
And normally, I hear sometimes it's the people you trust the most.
Exactly.
It's not even a thing of.
That's the thing. Like I know so many rape stories of people close to me, and Bonke, it was people very close to them, cousins, uncles. Step brothers and sisters, so it's you can't really do anything to prevent it. I think personally because I have a daughter, I understand there's nothing much I can do to protect her. The only thing I'm probably gonna plan on doing is to cool it and she's free to talk to me. So if in case anything ever happens, I'll be there to help her.
Is she very much comfortable chatting with you about everything?
No, she's still 4.
Oh, she's
still a baby. Yeah, but obviously also just to teach her a few things to look out for from men that are red flags. I'm definitely going to teach that. Once a bit more, I've already started the teaching about try and avoid spaces like this. If a man does this, don't do this. This is how you respond. And obviously she's a baby, but I've already started. And I'm planning on doing it. She goes, avoid this and that. Not that it's gonna help completely, but there's a few things that she must just look out for. That's the only thing I can do really. Or maybe take her to self-defense classes and us. So if she's ever attacked, because now I feel like maybe if I was stronger, maybe I could have fought. But
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That was a hectic life. But I'm thankful that you managed to get over it, but one thing I would ask you: would you advise people to do the same thing that you did?
No.
or to report it?
No. Till this day, I would advise people to report, right? And also report, I think, in as much as these rape cases don't go as you now,
How do you
but
know
I would
that's
advise Nzotini abafane no uyahlala ejele, it's not a long time. I feel like punishment is not enough because rape ruins
your entire life?
it ruins everything. It's your mental health, your emotional, like I'll be correct. The way you deal with things as scholar to your relationships, to your sexual life, like it ruins a lot for a person. 5 years, you know? So it's just like, but I would still advise but you'd rather report not only for yourself but for abanye abantu that might fall victim of the same person in the future. So that yes, okay, this person has had a rape case, so nabantwana bethu in the community maybe try and stay away from him, you know. So for that reason, so that ingazuqhubekeka, I'd advise people to not do what I did, you know. But also people who keep quiet, I also understand. Sometimes you blame yourself, and sometimes you're scared, sometimes you think of parents. There's a lot of reasons that people keep quiet, and sometimes you're threatened and you're scared of the person who raped you. You're like, if I report, I'm in the community. So I also understand people who don't report. So yeah.
Which is as you said. It was hectic.
I'm even sweating.
Yeah, I can imagine. Thank you for coming on an episode, man.
Sure.
It was lovely having you. We're coming again next week with another banger of another episode. We've got more in the bag. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button, notification button. We're coming again next week. Cheers. London Kings.